Good morning, everyone. Today we are continuing with our sewing basics 2. Today we're going to learn how to sew straight lines and pivot in the corners with a reverse at the beginning and at the end. But first of all, someone asked me how to use the foot pedal. It is true that yesterday, when we did our previous video, I didn't talk about this. This is our foot pedal. And it's basically quite simple because all it is you have to put the pressure of your foot on it. It's a bit like driving, accelerating. The more you accelerate, the faster the sewing machine goes. At this moment, I'm not sewing, so I'm not going to press it because otherwise I'll get my threads tangled. But once we start sewing, then I will demonstrate. What I've done here is I've just done a couple of lines finished together at the bottom, so it's continuous. And we're going to sew, kind of guiding ourselves by the straight line. So here we are. Also, one thing, we have a little blade here to cut our threads, which I didn't show you yesterday. So when you start sewing, it's preferable the majority of the fabric is on the outside of the sewing machine, not the other way around. Because today we have a small piece of fabric, but if you were sewing a coat or something much bigger, you wouldn't want all the fabric here. You want it on the outside. So try and pin and draw in the way that your fabric would be outside the sewing machine. So again, as we mentioned previously, you put the presser foot down, holding your threads, you digging the needle, turning the dial towards you. Now here's where I want to show you how the foot pedal works. You see? It's just by pushing it down, the sewing machine works. If you press harder, it's going to go faster. At this moment, I want to do a reverse. So I'm going to push it slightly and reverse. Oops. And then it goes forward. Okay, I'm going to put it down at the bottom. It's easier for me to control. So basically, one hand at the back and one in the front is going to keep you in control. I see a lot of people sewing with their hands here and letting the machine do its own thing. The machine is fine when it's new, but when it's not so new, it needs a bit of help and you need to control where you're going. If you do that, that's not going to control. You need to have one hand at the back and one in the front to be able to keep the fabric taut and to control where you want to go. So, you see, the further I push the foot pedal, the faster it goes. Now here, some of you may think if I push the pedal, it's going to go too fast. Okay, yes, that can happen. So turning your dial towards you manually, you will go to the pivot point. Now the pivot is a bit like a ballerina. You leave one foot in, you lift the presser foot, and you turn the fabric around. And this way, it stays in the corner. And again, we can start off. Right. Up the presser foot, turn the fabric around, and down. Holding my fabric from the back. Again to the corner. So this is a way to practice to sew on the line, because it's very important that when you start sewing, whoops, I've gone off the line a bit there. You see? Even experts do that. It's very important to sew on the line, because if you're making a garment or if you're making a piece of upholstery or a bag, if you're told to sew at a certain width, you're going to have to learn how to sew on the line or on the marked area that you have to be sewing. Always a reverse, even though at this moment it's not holding anything together. So here we have a little blade, click, and your thread's inside. So it's a bit crumpled up. This sewing machine does have a bit of a tight tension, and even though I try to lower it, it doesn't work very well. But because of the situation, this is what we have at the moment. What I am going to show you today is to sew at the width of the presser foot. That means that the presser foot is here, and you align your presser foot with the edge of the fabric. And if your needle is in the center, this is called the width of the presser foot. It's really half of the presser foot, but that's what they call it. But if you need to sew at 1 centimeter from the edge, well, you can shift the needle, you see, the maximum to the left, and this is now sewing at 1 centimeter. So instead of having to mark something all the way down at 1 centimeter, all you have to do is shift your needle to the left and guide yourself by the edge of the presser foot. So this is practice for today. Tomorrow it shall be curved. We shall be doing some curves to see how you control the fabric in the sewing machine. Okay, thank you for listening. Bye-bye.